We have big news from the NHL waiver wire. Dante Fabbro of the Predators, who's been mentioned a lot in trade rumors, finds himself on waivers. We'll discuss the odds of getting claimed and where he might land coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some pretty interesting and substantial news from the NHL waiver wire. It's not real often we get a player that's a little bit more likely to get claimed or a little bit more interesting sometimes, but today the Nashville Predators, who have been struggling, find themselves at the bottom of the NHL after spending a ton of money in free agency this past offseason, has placed defenseman Dante Fabbro on waivers. Now, so far this year, at least, Fabbro has appeared in 6 games. He has no points and hasn't really been playing a whole lot with Nashville. It's kind of, slowly worked his way down the depth chart. I mean, he was a 2016 first-round pick that came out of the BU program in Hockey East, had a promising future, so it was a first-rounder, looked really solid. Was kind of viewed upon as being a pretty, average size, good two-way defenseman. That's kind of what a lot of people thought. The Predators, I think, were hoping and looking like he would develop into a solid top 4 right shot D that was pretty decent at both ends of the ice. I don't think he was going to be a defenseman that was going to wow you on either end, but be pretty good and just be a, overall solid top 4 guy. And there were some times when it looked like maybe that was developing, but overall, it really hasn't. He's kind of fallen out of favor there, and it's kind of become, this year at least, a little bit of a spare part. So Fabbro, he's still not that old. He's still only 26. At this point in his career, though, I mean, he might be able to become a more versatile defenseman for another team. So we'll see if he gets clean. He's not making a ton of money, but obviously the contract could be a deterrent. We'll have to wait and see. But Fabbro has been a name that's been out there in trade rumors as well. We know that the Predators were more than willing to include him in a deal if they found a way to make their team better. That's no secret. He's been out there really for the last number of weeks. There have been times where he was linked to the Edmonton Oilers. We know they're looking for a right shot defenseman to play on their second pair with Darnell Nurse. He may not be the perfect fit there. It's kind of difficult to say, but the Oilers definitely are in that market. There's no doubt. Other teams are looking as well. They're not the only team. There's lots of teams out there looking for right-handed defense help. It's something that comes at a premium. So wouldn't be shocking if he's claimed. It also wouldn't be shocking if he wasn't. And I get this question a lot, is sometimes we see players clear waivers, don't get picked up, and then a day or two later we'll see them get traded. And some people will be like, well, why? How did it happen that way? Why does it go down that way? Why would a team not pick him up for nothing rather than be traded? And the question is easily answered, because once that player clears waivers, if they're traded, they've already done that. So they can be assigned to the minor leagues. Of course, when you're on after you clear waivers, you can play upwards. You can be recalled and play up to 10 NHL games before you need waivers again to go back to the minors. So it creates a little bit of short-term flexibility that you could send them to the minors. You could recall them until they play 10 games at the NHL. You won't need to do it again. So you have that, roster flexibility for a short time, which also means you can have cap flexibility, because while they're in the minors, depending on what the client makes here, and in this case, a large chunk of the salary is going to be buried, because you can bury up to just over $1.1 million in the minors for cap relief. So it's lots of interesting things that way. Plus, when a team wants to move a player, sometimes, they talk to teams, they have some trade interest, but it's not developing. Maybe that other team really needs the Predators in this case to take something back. Right, so they'll be like, well, we can't take them on waivers because we don't really have room. But if Nashville's willing to take something off our hands, we could do that. So sometimes you'll then see a swap, right? And maybe it's an asset that Nashville can put directly in the minors, or maybe it's a NHL asset they like better. It's hard to say. So there's lots of reasons to say, if he clears waivers, that may actually enhance a trade. It doesn't mean that he's going to go to the minors and just stay put. That could happen too, but it's not an absolute given by any means. So there's definitely teams out there, I think, that would be interested in taking him. The contract, I don't know if it'll be a deterrent. We'll have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, Fabbro is on waivers. We'll find out tomorrow afternoon. If he clears, if he does clear, like I said, we'll kind of monitor the situation. If he isn't traded, usually within a day or two later, then you could probably say it's most likely not going to happen until he goes down, he plays, and then we'll see if he generates interest later on. But let me know your thoughts on Fabbro, where he could land. And does it make sense for teams to pick him up based on what other options there might be? Like I said, he's not super mobile. He's got a good stick. He's a right shot, average size, okay at both ends of the ice. Likes to shoot it, pretty good one-timer. So, I mean, depending on a role, he might be a good fit. Depending on, some roles it might not. So it kind of depends, right? But let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.